When you silence the noise, something incredible begins to happen. You start to feel your own energy again. You start to reconnect with your mind, your purpose, your vision. But most people can't handle silence. They avoid it because it forces them to confront what they've been running from. When the phone isn't lighting up, when the notifications stop, when the music fades, and it's just you and your thoughts, that's when you see who you really are. Silence isn't comfortable at first. It feels strange, even empty. But that emptiness is exactly what you need to fill with focus. Because silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is finally beginning. The noise of the world, the opinions, the judgments, the comparisons, it distracts you from your own frequency. You start living for everyone else. You start chasing trends, validation, approval, and forget what truly matters, your own progress. Silence is where your focus grows roots. It's where your next level begins to form. When you remove distractions, your energy shifts inward. You start asking better questions. You start recognizing patterns. You start realizing how much time you've wasted trying to please people who were never paying attention in the first place. Silence reveals the truth. It shows you what really matters and what's been holding you back. It's not easy, though. The first few moments of quiet will feel heavy. Your mind will want to reach for the phone, to scroll, to text, to escape. But that urge, that's your comfort zone calling you back. Don't answer it. Stay uncomfortable. Sit in the silence. Because silence is power. It's where discipline is built and where peace is found. Every great transformation starts with a period of withdrawal. Athletes isolate before championships. Artists disappear before masterpieces. Leaders go quiet before breakthroughs. The world might think you're distant or detached, but you're not. You're preparing. You're protecting your focus. You're building something they can't see yet. When you spend time in silence, you start to notice your inner voice again. Not the one filled with doubt or fear, but the one that knows exactly who you can become. The one that whispers, keep going, when no one else believes in you. That voice gets louder when the world gets quieter. And that's why silence is not an escape. It's a strategy. You learn to control your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts control you. You stop reacting to everything and start creating deliberately. You start making decisions that align with your goals instead of your emotions. You'll begin to notice that silence brings awareness. Awareness brings control. Control brings progress. Progress, peace. And peace, my friend, is the ultimate power. Because when you operate from a peaceful place, you can't be shaken. The chaos around you doesn't disturb you anymore. You start moving differently. Slower, more intentionally. People notice. They can feel that something about you changed. But what really changed is that you learned how to silence the world long enough to listen to your own spirit. Focus thrives in silence. When you cut off distractions, your brain stops jumping between thoughts and starts going deep into one. You begin to enter flow. You begin to produce real work, meaningful work. Silence teaches you patience. It forces you to slow down and build substance. And the deeper you go, the clearer you see what you're capable of. That's why the most successful people in any field spend time alone. They understand that silence sharpens the mind like still water reflects the sky. And here's the thing. Silence doesn't just mean the absence of sound. It means the absence of unnecessary energy. Sometimes silence means saying no. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes it means not responding, not explaining, not defending. You don't need to announce everything you're working on. You don't need to broadcast your growth. Let your silence build your strength in private, and your results will echo louder than any words ever could. Silence is the space where your next level self is built. Now, let's talk about truth, because truth is transformation. The second you start being real with yourself, your life starts to change. But most people avoid the truth. They bury it under excuses, distractions, and denial. They tell themselves stories that make them feel better instead of stories that make them better. You cannot grow while lying to yourself. Growth requires honesty. It requires looking at your reflection and admitting what's not working. It requires courage to say, I'm not where I want to be, and that's on me. And truth is painful, but it's powerful. It breaks the illusion that comfort has created. It exposes your bad habits, your fears, your procrastination. And while it hurts to see your flaws, it's the only way to fix them. You can't heal what you hide. You can't change what you won't confront. When you get real with yourself, you take back control. You stop blaming circumstances, people, or luck. You start realizing that your life is a direct reflection of your choices, your mindset, your discipline. That realization is freedom. Because if your past decisions created your current situation, then your new decisions can create a better one. Truth builds strength. When you face your weaknesses, they lose their power over you. You stop pretending to be perfect and start becoming real. Real confidence doesn't come from pretending you have it all together. It comes from knowing you can handle what falls apart. Truth gives you that confidence. It gives you clarity. It gives you direction. Because when you're honest about where you are, you can finally figure out where to go. When you're truthful with yourself, excuses die. You stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I? You stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. You stop trying to impress others and start improving yourself. The truth is your mirror. It doesn't lie, but it does reveal. It reveals whether you've been growing or just going through the motions. It reveals whether you've been chasing progress or comfort. It's not about guilt or shame. It's about awareness. When you know the truth, you can change it. When you deny it, you stay stuck. And many people stay stuck not because they lack potential, but because they refuse to face reality. They'd rather blame someone else than look in the mirror. But nothing changes until you do. So tell yourself the truth, even if it hurts. Be real about your habits. Be real about your distractions. Be real about your discipline. That level of honesty will change your life faster than any motivation ever could. Because motivation fades, but self-awareness lasts. The moment you admit that you've been slacking, you can start fixing it. The moment you admit you've been afraid, you can start fighting it. The moment you admit you've been wasting time, you can start managing it. Every problem you face becomes solvable once you face it with truth. That's the foundation of transformation. Truth strips away illusions. It doesn't care about your ego. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about growth. And when you embrace it, you stop needing validation. You stop comparing your journey to others because you're finally focused on becoming your best self. Truth liberates you from pretending. It allows you to rebuild from a place of authenticity. The strongest version of you doesn't live behind lies. It lives behind the courage to face your flaws and still keep moving forward. The truth is not your enemy. It's your mirror. Showing you what you need to work on, what you need to release, what you need to become. So silence the noise. That's where you'll hear your truth. And when you face that truth, transformation begins. Together, they build the foundation of real focus, silence to connect, truth to correct. Once you master those two, you become unstoppable. Elimination over addition, that's where real growth begins. People think that success is about adding more and more habits, more routines, more connections, more goals. But that's a trap. Because the truth is, your progress doesn't depend on what you add, it depends on what you remove. Most people are overwhelmed, not because they don't have enough, but because they have too much, too many distractions, too many opinions, too many commitments that don't align with who they want to become, can't grow in a cluttered environment. You can't think clearly when your mind is drowning in noise, and you can't become your best self while carrying the weight of things that no longer serve you. The process of elimination is hard because it feels like loss. But it's not loss, it's liberation. When you let go of what drains you, you make space for what builds you. Think about it. You don't need 20 things to move forward. You just need a few that truly matter. Eliminate the unnecessary. Cut out the habits that keep you stagnant. Stop wasting energy on people who don't want to grow with you. Stop saying yes to things that steal your focus. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to something meaningful. Growth requires sacrifice, and that sacrifice usually looks like letting go. Letting go of the comfort zone that feels safe but keeps you small. Letting go of the routines that keep you busy but not productive. Letting go of the validation that feeds your ego but starves your purpose. The process of elimination will test you. It will make you question everything you thought you needed. It will make you uncomfortable because you're used to being surrounded by distractions. but that's exactly why it works. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in clarity. And clarity only comes when you remove the fog. You can't see your vision if your life is full of noise. You can't focus on your future if you're constantly tied to your past. You have to release to rise. Start small. Clean your physical space first, because your environment reflects your mind. When you declutter your surroundings, you start decluttering your thoughts. Then clean your mental space. Eliminate negative self-talk, overthinking, and comparison. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to progress. Every time you choose simplicity over chaos, you strengthen your focus. The lighter you travel, the faster you move. That's the secret most people miss. They chase new techniques, new routines, new systems, but they forget to remove what's already holding them back. Sometimes elimination means stepping back from people who don't match your energy anymore. You can love someone and still recognize that they're not healthy for your growth. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish, it makes you smart. Energy is contagious. And if you're always surrounded by negativity, eventually it becomes your default state. You must guard your environment like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. The people you spend time with are shaping your mindset, your habits, and your outcomes, even when you don't notice it. Wisely. Elimination also means being ruthless with your time. Time is the currency of success. You can make more money, but you can never make more time. Stop wasting it on things that don't matter. Every scroll, every distraction, every unnecessary argument. It's stealing minutes you'll never get back. Simplify your priorities. Focus on the few things that push your life forward. Be unapologetic about it. If people don't understand, let them misunderstand. They don't need to see your vision. It's not theirs to see. Once you start removing what drains you, you'll notice something powerful: space. Space to breathe. Space to think. Space to grow. That space is where transformation happens. That's where creativity returns. That's where peace is found. Because in that stillness, you finally have room for what matters: your purpose, your health, your vision, your peace. Elimination isn't loss, it's alignment. It's the process of removing the unnecessary so only the essential remains. And when you live from that place of clarity, everything becomes simpler, sharper, stronger. Now, once you've cleared the clutter, it's time to work in silence. Not because the world doesn't deserve to see your progress, but because your growth deserves protection. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to announce their plans, their goals, their next move. But real growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows, the quiet hours, the unseen effort, the moments when no one is clapping, no one is watching, and no one is cheering. That's where greatness is born. Working in silence is not about hiding. It's about protecting your focus from distraction. The moment you start talking too much about your goals, you invite opinions, doubts, and expectations. You start performing for approval instead of progressing for purpose. The ego wants recognition, but the soul wants results, and you can't feed both. When you work in silence, your actions stay pure. You're not doing it to prove anything. You're doing it to become something. There's a kind of magic in working silently. It builds an inner confidence that doesn't need validation. You start realizing that your discipline is stronger than your desire for attention. You no longer crave to be noticed because you've already noticed your own growth. Every time you keep your progress private, you strengthen your internal power, because silence forces you to rely on your effort, not your image. It's not about disappearing completely. It's about choosing peace over performance. You don't have to post every win. You don't have to explain your grind. You don't have to prove that you're working. Real focus is invisible. It shows in your results, not in your stories. And when your results start showing, people will wonder how you did it. They'll think it happened overnight, but you know it didn't. You'll know it came from countless hours of silent effort, quiet failures, and private victories that no one saw. The world celebrates the outcome, but silence celebrates the process, and the process is everything. That's where you grow, learn, and transform. Working in silence teaches you patience. It teaches you to value consistency over applause, because applause is temporary, but mastery lasts. When you focus on your craft without distractions, You develop depth, real unshackable skill that no one can take from you. There's another reason silence is powerful. It builds anticipation. When you stop talking and start moving, people start paying attention. The less you announce, the more mysterious you become. The more mysterious you become, the more powerful your presence feels. You don't have to talk about being great. You just show it through your actions. Let your results speak for you. Silence creates impact because it lets success do the talking. And maybe the most important lesson about working in silence is that it frees you from judgment. When you're not broadcasting your journey, no one can interrupt it. No one can criticize what they can't see. You get to make mistakes quietly, learn privately, and grow authentically. You can evolve without the pressure of perception. That's how true confidence is built. Not by showing off progress, but by trusting the process. Working in silence also teaches humility. It reminds you that the journey isn't about applause. It's about becoming who you said you would be. Every great achiever understands that the work must come before the reward. The seed grows underground long before it breaks the surface. The roots grow in silence before the tree rises in strength. That's you, growing underground, unseen, unnoticed, but unstoppable. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means control. It means you've learned to channel your energy into your actions instead of your words. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful. Often, it's the quiet one who's focused, disciplined, and consistent. While others talk about what they'll do, you're already doing it. While they're chasing attention, you're chasing progress. There will be times when people misunderstand your silence. They'll think you've fallen off. They'll think you've given up. Let them. Don't waste energy defending yourself. Just keep working. Let your results do the explaining later. When your time comes and your progress speaks for itself, you won't need to convince anyone. They'll see it. Remember, the goal is not to be noticed, it's to be remembered. Not for your noise, but for your impact. And impact is built in the quiet. The grind that no one sees is what creates the success everyone admires. So, stay low, stay consistent, stay committed. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of focus. When you eliminate distractions and work in silence, your life transforms from chaos to clarity. You stop chasing validation and start chasing greatness. You stop reacting to everything and start creating intentionally. Every day you wake up and put in the work without expecting applause, you build a version of yourself that's stronger, sharper, and more grounded. And when your breakthrough finally comes, you'll know you earned it. Not because the world believed in you, but because you never stopped believing in yourself. Discipline builds power. The kind of power that doesn't come from luck, talent, or motivation. It's the power that's forged through repetition, consistency, and commitment. Most people want success, but very few are willing to pay the daily price that success demands. They chase motivation like a spark that fades after a few moments. But discipline is the fire that never goes out. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel like it. It commands that you do it anyway. It's the invisible force that separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers. When you learn to master discipline, you take control of your destiny, because discipline doesn't depend on emotion. It depends on decision. Every great achievement starts with a decision, the decision to show up, even when you're tired, even when you're uninspired, even when the results are nowhere in sight. Discipline is the act of showing up repeatedly, even when no one's watching. It's the quiet agreement you make with yourself that says, I will not quit. Every time you follow through on your word, you build self-respect. You prove to yourself that you can trust you. That kind of trust is rare. Most people break promises to themselves daily. They say they'll start tomorrow. They say they'll try later. And they say they'll do it when they feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect time, it creates it. The power of discipline is in the small, consistent actions. You don't transform your life overnight. You do it brick by brick, choice by choice, habit by habit. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you move closer to the person you're supposed to become. That's why discipline feels hard, because it's reshaping you. It's tearing away the lazy, weak, distracted version of you and replacing it with someone unstoppable. That process is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. growth and comfort never coexist. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. It means falling down and getting back up. It means learning to move forward even on your worst days. There will be mornings when you wake up unmotivated, when everything feels heavy, when nothing seems to work. Those are the days that test who you really are. Those are the days when discipline takes over. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It cares about who you're becoming. It's easy to work when you're inspired, but discipline is doing the work when inspiration disappears. When you live with discipline, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You realize that your life is your responsibility. That your success isn't built by luck or talent. It's built by consistency. Every rep, every page, every step, every early morning adds up. You don't always see it, but it's happening. Discipline compounds quietly. It builds character, and character builds destiny. You start noticing that the stronger your discipline gets, the calmer your mind becomes, because chaos thrives on inconsistency. When you train your mind to follow through daily, you eliminate uncertainty. You know that no matter how bad it gets, you'll still show up. That's where real power comes from. Knowing that nothing external can break your internal rhythm. People who live without discipline are slaves to their emotions. But those who live with discipline are masters of them. They don't chase motivation, they create momentum. They don't need to feel ready, they just need to remember their reason. Discipline turns pain into purpose. It transforms sacrifice into strength. When you stick to your path despite discomfort, you develop resilience that most people will never experience. And that resilience becomes your competitive edge. Because while others stop when it's hard, you keep going. While they look for comfort, you look for growth. And the longer you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, the things that once felt hard become habits. The resistance fades. What used to take effort becomes part of who you are. That's when you realize discipline is freedom. It's not about restriction, it's about control. When you're disciplined, you're no longer controlled by distractions, laziness, or impulses. You become unstoppable because you've built a mind that can't be broken. Every day that you stay consistent, you're building momentum. Momentum is invisible at first, but it's unstoppable once it starts. The person who trains daily, reads daily, learns daily, they don't change suddenly, they evolve gradually. Then one day, everyone around them notices. They'll say you've changed, but you'll know you didn't change overnight. You just stayed disciplined long enough for your results to catch up. Now, let's talk about the final key, protecting your energy. Because what's the point of discipline if your energy is constantly drained? Your energy is your life force. It's your power source. Everything you think, feel, and do is fueled by it. But too many people waste their energy on things that don't deserve it. They argue, complain, gossip, worry, scroll, and wonder why they're exhausted and unmotivated. Protecting your energy is not optional, it's essential. You can't create a high-performing life with low energy. Protecting your energy starts with awareness. You need to know what drains you and what fuels you. Every conversation, every thought, every environment either adds to your energy or takes from it. Pay attention. When you finish talking to someone, ask yourself, do I feel inspired or drained? When you scroll through your feed, do you feel motivated or miserable? When you spend your time somewhere, do you feel uplifted or depleted? The answers will tell you everything you need to know about what needs to change. Energy protection isn't about isolation. It's about boundaries. You can still love people from a distance. You can still be kind without being accessible to negativity. The problem is that most give their energy away too easily. They try to fix everyone, please everyone, explain themselves to everyone. And in the process, they lose themselves. Protecting your energy means saying no without guilt. It means not engaging in drama. It means walking away from arguments that don't deserve your peace. You don't owe everyone your presence. You owe yourself your peace. When you learn to protect your energy, your life gets quieter. But in that quiet, you find strength. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop letting other people's emotions control yours. You realize that not every battle is worth fighting. Some things are better left unanswered. Some situations are better left alone. Peace becomes your priority. And once peace becomes your priority, chaos loses its grip on you. Protecting your energy also means protecting your mind. What you feed your mind becomes your mindset. If you constantly consume negativity, you'll think negative. If you surround yourself with gossip or think small, protect your mind by being intentional with what you allow in. Read things that elevate you. Listen to voices that challenge you. Watch things that inspire you. Your mind is a garden. What you plant will grow. So be careful what seeds you allow to take root. Another part of protecting your energy is managing your inner dialogue. Sometimes the most draining voice isn't the world. It's your own. The self-doubt, the overthinking, the fear. They drain more energy than any external obstacle. You must learn to redirect that energy toward belief and purpose. Remind yourself of who you are, not who you fear you might fail to be. Speak strength over your own life. Energy flows where focus goes. So if your focus is on growth, your energy will naturally expand. Rest is also part of protection. You can't pour from an empty cup. Hustle culture teaches people to grind endlessly, but power without rest leads to burnout. True strength comes from balance, knowing when to push and when to pause. Rest isn't weakness, it's strategy. It allows your energy to recharge, your creativity to reset, and your mind to realign. You can't go to war every day without sharpening your sword. Protecting your energy means understanding that your body and mind need recovery. Sometimes protecting your energy means walking away from people, habits, or situations that no longer align with your growth. It takes courage to outgrow what once felt comfortable. But remember, growth always demands separation. You can't rile staying attached to what holds you down. Every time you walk away from something toxic, you reclaim your power. Every time you protect your peace, you strengthen your presence. Energy protection also means keeping your goals private until they're strong enough to stand on their own. Not everyone deserves access to your plans. Some people don't support you, they just want to know what you're doing. Silence is protection. Keep your vision sacred. Protect it from doubt, envy, and distraction. Not everyone has the same intentions as you, and that's okay. Stay focused on your lane and let your energy flow toward what truly matters. When you master the art of protecting your energy, you'll start to notice a shift in everything. You'll become calmer, clearer, and more confident. You'll attract better opportunities and better people. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. When your energy is right, your reality follows. You'll stop chasing and start attracting. You'll stop surviving and start thriving. Power without discipline is dangerous, and discipline without energy is unsustainable. But when you combine both, when you live with unshakable discipline and protect your energy fiercely, you become unstoppable. You become the type of person who doesn't just move through life, you move life itself. Discipline gives you the structure, energy gives you the strength. Together, they make you unbreakable. And that's where the real transformation begins. Not when you add more, not when you wait for luck, but when you take control of your habits and your energy. That's how you build a life of focus, peace, and power that nothing and no one can take from you.